welcome back to the Path Through podcast. If I look incredibly exhausted, that's because I am. It is currently around 1:15 a.m. that I am recording this podcast, but it needs to be done. I promised you guys an episode on Friday at 9:30, so you guys will be getting an episode on Friday at 9:30. We're going to be talking about a little bit of an interesting topic. It's kind of a reflection of where I am in my life right now, and that is the path through uncertainty and my job and what I want to do and my life and my relationships and where I want to live. And it's a lot of changing and transitioning parts in my life, but through that uncertainty, I found peace. And how I found that peace was relinquishing control, being comfortable in the uncertainty and realizing that I'm not in control here. God's in control. He's the one that is driving my life. And by having that full trust in Him, it's giving me a sense of peace, even through the uncertainty and through the transitions. It's something that's a little bit strange for me because I'm so used to being in control all the time, and I'm so used to wanting to be in the driver's seat or wanting to dictate where my life is going to go and when it's going to go there. And it's something that's incredibly new for me to say, you know what, God, you're taking the wheel right now, and I don't know where we're going or how fast we're going or even what direction we're heading in, but I have full faith in you and I have full trust in you that you're going to get me to exactly where I need to be. And I can't express how freeing that is. Because I feel like whenever we have this uncertainty in our lives, it makes us incredibly anxious and it makes us incredibly scared because we want to know where our life is going. We want to know what the next move is. We want to know, what's going on next. And it's just human nature to want to know those things, and to want to have some kind of control over our lives, right? And I'm very guilty of that. I'm control master. If anybody knows how to try to hold on to that control, it's definitely me. And with releasing that in the midst of the uncertainty was something that was incredibly hard for me to do, because when you're uncertain, you're unstable. It feels like you're incredibly unstable. It feels like everything is moving around you at 1,000,000 miles a minute and you have no grasp on what's happening. And to say in that moment, God, I'm giving you full control of this. I'm going to trust in you to lead me. It was incredibly difficult for me to do. But within that, I found freedom and I found peace. And it's trusting Him daily. It's not just trusting Him in the moment and tomorrow when things are good, I forget about Him and then I come back to Him whenever things are bad. No, it's trusting Him to provide daily. And it says that in the Bible as well, that you trust in Him to provide every single day and you come to Him every single day. And with doing that, I've started waking up in the morning, and speaking with Him. And whenever I end my day, speaking with Him and fostering that relationship has just been something that was unexpected for me, but it was something that was so needed. It was something that I felt I didn't know that I needed this much, because whenever you have this issue with constantly wanting control of your life and constantly wanting to dictate the direction that things go in, it brings on a tremendous level of stress and anxiety, because whenever things aren't going the way that you want to, it's very stressful and it's very scary and you want to get back in control. And that's something that I've definitely struggled with and I still continue to struggle with. And to be in a position now where I feel so unsteady and it feels like everything around me is completely tossed up and I have no clear direction on what I want to do with my life or my career or relationships or even down to where I want to live. And to feel so at peace and to feel so free within the midst of the chaos, it's something that I can't even explain that feeling. And I just wanted to touch on that. I wanted to touch on that moment, and I wanted to touch on the inevitable of this uncertain period, right? Of this transitioning period that we all have to go through. And it's something that's incredibly scary and something that you might not know how to navigate. But it's important to know that you're not the only person that is going through that. You're not the only person that experiences that. This is something that is natural, and this is something that happens in life. You're going to feel uncertain. You're going to quit your job. You're going to want to quit your job, and you're going to want to start over. And then when you do start over, it's going to be very scary. And maybe, you've been working the same job for the past 10 years and it no longer feels like something that, aligns with your life and who you are. And maybe you need to start over. And within that starting over period, you might feel anxious. You might feel depressed. You might feel like you don't want to get out of bed. And all of these things are natural with these transitionings in life, and all of this uncertainty, it's something that I have found peace in looking to God and giving up that control and relinquishing my control to Him. And that is just something that I wanted to share. The past few months has been some of the hardest few months in my entire life, honestly. And I didn't fully realize, I think, what God was preparing me for. And I still don't know what He's preparing me for until I actually get there. But what I do know with certainty is that the things that I've asked for, the financial freedom that I've asked for, the life I've asked for, I am in the midst of building that right now. And that's not just with hard work, it's with character. It's with God putting me in positions where I have to fight my way out of it to have the strength and to have the confidence in myself that I will be able to figure it out and He will be able to help me to figure it out, right? And that is so important because I feel like that contributed so much to my success, and I don't even feel like I've realized how much until this moment, is because of everything that I've been through and because I'm constantly putting myself in positions, with really, really tough situations where I have to figure my way out of it. I have to fight my way out of them. And because I've done that, I now have this confidence in myself where it's like, I'm not scared. I might be scared. I might be a little anxious. I might be terrified. But when I take that step, I have the confidence that, hey, you know what? I've done it before. I can do it again. And this now is this entirely new challenge that I'm experiencing. And there were moments that I was terrified. I was terrified that I wasn't going to be able to do it. I was terrified that I wasn't going to be able to figure it out. I wasn't going to be able to make my way through it. I was terrified I was going to fail. And it was the first time in my life that I really, really could not find the path through, where I was genuinely scared that I was going to fail. And every time this has happened before where I've been in a tough spot, I always had ideas. Like I always had some kind of path, right? Or some kind of vision where I can say, okay, maybe I can do this, maybe I can do that. And I was put in a position where every single thing I was trying was failing. And I've never experienced that before. Before it would be maybe, I try, 3 things and they failed, but the 4th one it hit and it was like, okay, great. But this one, it felt like it was time after time after time. And now I was on like my 6th, my 7th leg, and I kept failing and failing and failing. And it made me question whether or not God wanted me to fail. And this was an actual thought that I had. It was a moment of, I felt like maybe the lesson that God was trying to teach me was something that was too severe or more than I can take, right? And it was a fear of maybe this lesson is for me to fail and for me to lose everything. And it was something that terrified me. looking back at it, it's not like my situation's changed. I mean, I'm still kind of in, the same situation. Whatever, obstacles I was overcoming at that point, I've overcame them, thank God. And now there's new obstacles that's popped up that I'm working on overcoming. But the difference between then and now is the mindset towards it. And it's the freedom of knowing that even if I lose everything, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because God is not going to give me more than I can bear. And I feel like we ask God for things all the time. And I've asked him for this. I've asked him for what I'm currently going through right now, right? I feel like I go to him and I say, God, I want financial freedom. I want to be wealthy. I want to be able to take care of my family. I want to be able to give them whatever they want. I want the freedom financially to be able to spend time with my family and not have to worry. And it's like we want the reward without the sacrifice, right? And right now I'm going through the sacrifice. Right now, God is preparing me for everything that I've asked him for. I'm actively going through the preparation. I'm going through boot camp. I'm going through boot camp right now to prepare for the life that I've asked God for. Because to achieve that or to live in that life, it's going to be vibrating on a whole new frequency. It's going to be dealing with the type of wealth that I've never experienced or handled before. So how can I know how to do it unless God prepares me? And with that preparation comes uncertainty, because it's going to get dark. It's going to get very scary. It's going to feel like there's no way out of it. But it's so important to keep in mind that everything you ask God for, everything you prayed for, he is preparing you for that. And with that comes trials, it comes tribulations, and it comes breaking you down to build you back up stronger, to be prepared for the blessings that are to come. So even though what I'm going through right now is still incredibly stressful, and in some ways it's very similar to where I was a few months ago, but the only thing that's changed is my mindset towards it. So I can be scared, I can be terrified, but instead I decide to put my undying faith in God and trusting him that whatever plan he has for me, I'm going to see my way through it, and I'm going to live in it. And even the dark moments, even the uncertain ones, even the scary ones, I'm going to live through them. And I'm going to live through them with peace and humility, and take everything that God has to give me, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I'm so grateful for this new outlook. And I told God, I prayed to him and I told him, I was like, hey, if you bless me with what I asked you for, and I decide to stray away from you, take it all away. Break me back down so that I can find you again, because that is what is ultimately important. Our life doesn't start or end here, and it's so important not to get too wrapped up in the worldly things, the worldly struggles, that we forget that we are going to be living abundantly with God, eternally with him. So if someone told you, hey, you have to struggle for 30 years, 40 years, but guess what, for the rest of your life you're going to be a millionaire, I'm sure a lot of people would take that deal. So why is it that we can't take a few years of suffering, of uncertainty, of fear, of struggle, and do it gratefully, to live in eternity with God, in abundance, with everything you could ever dream of? So that's something that I want you guys to take away. I'm sorry that this episode is a bit short. I am incredibly tired, but I did want to at least come on here and give you guys something for the week. And hopefully, this resonates, and hopefully you guys can take something away from that. And within this period of uncertainty, if you are in this period right now, I hope that you can give all of it to God. Let him drive. Let him drive. And even in the midst of the turmoil and the tornadoes and the hurricanes and the storms that are going on in your life, it is so freeing when you relinquish that control. Because guess what? You are not in control. So why not go through it in peace? If you're going to go through the struggles anyway, why not go through it in peace? Why not embrace it? It's life. Life is good, and it's messy, and it's sad, and it's happy, and it's emotional, and it's scary. And all of those things are a part of it, and that's what makes it beautiful, because without the bad times, we can't be appreciative of the good. So whatever space in life that you're in right now, embrace it, sit in it, even if it sucks and it's terrible. Take a breath, release your struggles, your pain to God, and let him guide you through the storm peacefully. Again, this is the Path Through podcast. Join us every week. There's going to be a new episode every week at 9:30 a.m. on Fridays. We have changed the date from Thursday to Fridays. I hope that you guys enjoy this episode. And if you want to see more like it, please subscribe to our channel at The Path Through. Follow us on social media at The Path Through Podcast.